I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
What's good? We're going to get into NXT from August the 18th, 2026. This was a pretty good episode of NXT. This basically was the final build before the go-home show for Heatwave, which is shaping up to be a magnificent show. I'm actually very excited for it. And I like really what they're doing with NXT. The matches on the show were fine. And NXT is getting back into that groove that it had last year in 2024. They're slowly but surely getting back there. Got a really good main event scene in Mike Santana, a.k.a. Cruz Montana, the return of Grayson Waller a few weeks ago, the new addition and arrival in Zilla Fatu, and Tony D'Angelo. So we really got some heavy hitters in the main event scene, and it's really good. Really, really good. So let's start with the main event first and how we close the show. Because we all knew that Zilla was going to basically be involved in the triple threat match at the time. So it's basically a fatal four-way, which we all knew. We already knew that they were going to insert him in the title picture immediately. And that's nepotism at its finest, but it's fine, though. It honestly is fine. And it happens, though. Do I think he'll win? Probably not. I really don't think that that's going to happen. That's just my prediction. So there's that. So Zilla, he shows up at the end of the show, gets a very good reaction. So Tony D'Angelo's on the crowd and everything else listening. Zilla gets on the mic and he greets NXT, saying that this is a big moment for him to be signing with the number one wrestling promotion in this world, and to start hearing NXT. So a massive Umaga chant breaks out. Zilla Fatu said he thought he'd never be here, but he's here now, and his goal is to show us he's not just another Nepo baby. Zilla says that he's here to let his talent speak for itself, and last week he made a lot of folks mad, but all he has to say is that we should get used to it. So then Grayson Waller comes out, security stops him. Cruz Montana, he tries to do the same thing to stop him, but he's blocked off by security. Zilla tells Robert Stone to get his guys under control, and Robert Stone says the contract said that Zilla's first match is an NXT championship match. So Mike Santana, he gets on the steel steps. Zilla says that Heatwave, they're going to be turning the triple threat into a fatal four-way. And then Zilla signs the contract, and he shakes hands with Mr. Stone. And security continues to separate Grayson Waller and Cruz Santana from getting their hands on Zilla Fatu. And Tony D'Angelo's in the crowd just looking at all this unfold. And that's how we end the show. This, to me, is fine. Again, I don't have a problem with this because we know that they're not going to immediately strap the rocket to Zilla. If they do, to me, then yes, that is kind of wild, but I don't think that they are going to do that. I think who should win the Fatal 4-Way should either be Grayson Waller or Cruz Montana, a.k.a. Mike Santana. Why? Because both guys kind of arrived basically 2 weeks apart from each other. So Grayson showed up first, and then literally like a week later, Cruz Montana, aka Mike Santana, showed up. So these guys are fresh. We know who both these guys are, but it just makes the most sense for them to kind of build the division around Cruz Montana and Grayson Waller. To me, that makes the most sense. Tony D'Angelo, he's on the outside looking in, even though he's champion. I don't see him being in NXT too much longer. I would imagine probably by October he's done. So I don't see he's gonna, him sticking around too much longer. I got a feeling that Triple H probably wants to bring in some more call-ups, because he's really doing that a lot lately, especially within the women's division of NXT. He brought in a lot, Tatum Paxi, Lola Vice, and everybody. So he's bringing in new people basically every 2-3 months. And I think Tony D'Angelo is going to be next on that list eventually. So, there's that. Am I mad about this? No, not really. I'm kind of fine with it. It is what it is. Nepotism is not just in pro wrestling. It's really in every factor of life and everything. That's just how it is. It's not what you know. It's basically who you know. And that's really how the real world works. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. It's the fucking truth. You know what I'm saying? But again, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for Zilla. To me, this makes the most sense. I think Zilla needs to just kind of feud with Tony D'Angelo, basically. So I would basically, if I was booking the show, I would honestly give either Grayson Waller or Mike Santana the title, and that way those two can feud over it, and then you have a feud between Zilla and Tony D'Angelo, right? And have Zilla be the main guy to send Tony D'Angelo back into the main roster. And I think that, to me, would make the most sense. I got a feeling he's going to be in NXT for a while. He's not going to, kind of get the Solo Sikoa treatment. I feel like that should not happen. I feel like he should be in NXT for at least a good year, maybe a year and a half. And then maybe you bring him up. So there's that. But again, this is an okay way to end the show. Even though I'm not excited for, I'm not a big fan of Fatal 4-Ways. I kind of welcome this one because I'm a fan of all four guys. I like Tony D'Angelo. Grayson Waller's fine. He's a very good heel. Mike Santana, he's always been solid since his days in TNA and all that, so he's been solid ever since. And Zilla is just fucking awesome. So I am very excited for that. And I'm waiting to see how things unfold. But I don't think that Zilla should immediately come in and be NXT champion within a couple weeks. That makes no damn sense. That's literally nepotism at its finest. It could happen, but I highly doubt it. I feel like maybe he becomes champion. Maybe next year, maybe around like New Year's Eve, something like that. Like, that's more believable. Like, you build him up. There's about 4.5 months left of the year. You build him up for the remaining 4 months of the year, and then when you go into New Year's Eve for next year, 2027, maybe that's when you have him beat Tony D'Angelo. If Tony D'Angelo is still there and still champion, then maybe you go that route. But we gotta wait and see how shit plays out. All right, moving on from that, we kicked the show off with Mike Santana. He's extremely irate from what happened last week with Zilla Fatu taking out him and Grayson Waller. He basically wants his hands on Zilla Fatu. And if he has to go into the parking lot to do it, he will. He says that he's a loud and proud Barika from the Bronx, New York. So, basically, a crew member tells Mike Santana that Zilla's not here. Then Rey Fénix shows up. So Rey Fénix gets a really good reaction. He says that he's happy to see Mike Santana here. And he says he's just here to find out who he's going to defend his AAA Cruiserweight Championship against next week. But if someone costs him a title shot, him, he's ready for them too. And he tells Mike Santana that he's got him. Cruz and Ray, they talk to each other in Spanish and everything else, and in English, saying that they've been through hell. They've gone through hell. They've gone to hell with each other on the Indies, TNA, AAA, and to hell and back. So Mike Santana says he respects Ray for the way he represents himself and the Latino culture proudly. So he says he's going to concede the floor to Ray Phoenix, but as far as Cruz goes, the most dangerous place in NXT is the parking lot, and he'll meet Zilla's ass there. And then that was it. So I do like that. Pretty good stuff there. I like it. I'm a fan of this. Very good stuff. Again, I'm a big fan of both Mike Santana and Ray Phoenix. Both those guys are fucking gems. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night. EK Prosper is the new number one contender to the NXT, the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. He defeated La Parka, Tristan Angels, and Romeo Minoru. Very good match, really good stuff. All four guys did an amazing job. Tristan Angels is a gem. But EK Prosper winning was the right decision. He ends up winning via the beautiful, beautiful moonsault that he does. It's so magnificent. So, there's that. And this match should be fun. Could this be the main event for next week's show? I doubt it, but it'll probably be the opener. And that's fine. And that'll be a good probably 15, 20 minutes. It should. So, I'm excited for that. And I like it. Moving on from that, this leads us into the Ring QCC. They're out in the back and everything else, and they are interrupted by the Vanity Project. So Brad Baylor asked Kendall Gray if she needs anyone to take care of her, and she says absolutely not. And they remind her of guys in high school. She says that they remind her of guys in high school who couldn't grow facial hair, which is kind of true. That's hilarious. You should be able to at least, whenever you're in your mid-20s or whatever, or your early 20s, you should be able to at least have some form of facial hair, whether it is like a goatee or kind of a beard that's about to start growing. You need to have something, some type of decent facial hair, right? I don't expect you to have like a full-fledged beard and you're like 21, 22. Sometimes that happens, but for the most part, it really doesn't. But I agree with her, though. They do look like they just all graduated high school, literally this year, or at best last year. So Ricky Smokes offers advice on the basis of being soon to be a two-time tag team champs. They all bicker back and forth. Everybody makes fun of Jackson Drake. So Milo Lockwood says they cooked you, and that's that. So that was hilarious there. It's fine. Do I care about this? Not really. Moving on from that, Nattie, she defeats Thea Hale. So this is fine. We all knew that Thea wasn't going to win. This match was okay. Nattie gets the win via the sharpshooter. And then post-match, Natalya and company, they beat down Jaida and Thea Hale. So this is fine. I kind of like this. Maybe this leads us into like a 6-woman tag match for Heatwave, maybe, more than likely. I don't know who the third member could be. Who their partner could be for Jaida Parker and Thea Hale, but they'll find someone. So I do like this. Maybe you get someone like a Wendy Chu from Evolve or whatever. I don't know. But this is interesting. Moving on from that, this leads us into Bronco Nima. He's given a pep talk to Lucian Price about Birthright. Moving on, Lexis King defeats Lucian Price to retain the Men's Speed Championship, which is fine. Towards the end of the match, Birthright got involved, and basically Price succumbed to the numbers game. Lexis King was able to hit the coronation for the 1, 2, 3, and that was it. So again, I kind of wish that Birthright, they were in TNA because that's what they strike me as a TNA faction. This is a faction that TNA would kind of push kind of heavy a little bit. Because that's what they all strike me as. Like, none of these guys would end up in AEW. None of them. Not Stax, not Ariana, not Brogan Finley, a.k.a. What's his WWE name? Uriah Connors. So, yeah. They strike me as guys and girls in TNA, basically. Like, they strike me as a TNA faction. So, there's that. Moving on. Well, no, actually, no. Post-match, Lexis King and his buddies were about to attack Lucian. But Bronco Nima showed up to make the save. And Birthright, they flee. And then, out the mud, OTM, they dap it up and they hug it out. And they're back on good terms, basically. So this is fine. I actually do like this. I think that OTM's been in NXT for about a good close to 4 years, right? Because they were with Jaida Parker back in 2022, or it may have been early 2023. But they've been in NXT for at least a good 3 to 4 years, and that's a good bit. But it's fine because the crowd, they fucking love him for whatever reason. So, there's that. Whatever. But, I mean, it's fine. Moving on from that, Grayson Waller, he's backstage. He says that he's been begging for weeks for someone to try and end the Grayson Waller takeover of NXT, but instead of the tough TikTok guys doing something, he's got to deal with another Samoan taking bread off his family. But unlike everyone else, he's not afraid of Zilla Fatu or his family. Grayson Waller says that we all know that Zilla is the black sheep of the family and is trying to take from him. But he wants to be real. He's happy that Zilla's here because he finally got the ankle monitor off and can roam free. But he chose the wrong night, the wrong show, and the wrong guy in the wrong time. Until he got involved last week, Grayson Waller was going to be number one contender. And in fact, he's pretty sure that he's the number one contender. There's nothing you can do about it. So, basically, Tony D'Angelo shows up. And he says that if Grayson Waller wants to call himself number one contender, it's fine by him. They keep lining him up, and he'll keep knocking them down. It doesn't matter where they all come from. He'll knock every one of them flat on their ass. Grayson Waller asked if he's going to do something about it. So Mike Santana shows up. He says he doesn't know what dust Grayson Waller's smoking, but the last time we checked, Grayson Waller was the one looking up at the lights before Zilla jumped him. How about this? How about Mike Santana and Grayson Waller finish their business, and then he and Tony can go toe-to-toe for the title. And if Fatu wants to show up, he'll put a foot up his ass, too. So they continue to bicker back and forth. Robert Stone shows up. He says that both Grayson Waller and Cruz Montana got screwed. Zilla's not even officially under contract yet. So he's going to do the fairest thing he can. That's going to be a triple threat match for now. Okay. Moving on from that, that's fine. This leads us into Charlotte Hill. He shows up. He's backstage chatting with Lizzie Rain. So, whatever. Miles Bourne shows up. He says he doesn't want to be rude, but he needs to talk to Charlotte Hill first. His match against Jackson Drake doesn't have any benefits for Shiloh, so he went to Mr. Stone and made a proper number one contenders match. If Charlotte Hill wins, he gets a title shot. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Moving on from that. So, Robert Stone is on the phone. He says he'll see them in 30 minutes. He's on the phone with somebody. So, Keanu Carver, he's sitting at his desk and says he wants to be in the NXT Championship scene. Robert Stone says he can't just put him in the match. Why can't you? You did that same shit for Zilla. Why can't you do it for Keanu Carver? A guy who's been in NXT for probably about what? A good maybe 6 months? 4 to 6 months, I think. Kiana says he knows his time will come. And hey, he made Robert Stone coffee. So Mr. Stone says he doesn't want to drink it because it's 9 p.m. But Kiana Carver insists that he has a sip. Okay. Then Kim Hendricks shows up and he has some words with Kiana Carver. And then decides to leave anyway. So, there's that. Moving on from that, Kelly Armstrong and Kalani Jordan, they defeat Ring QCC. Very good match here. Basically, Ren Sinclair took all the punishment and everything else. Kendall Gray barely did anything in the match, basically. I mean, she did do a little bit of stuff, but Ren losing is fine. Callie got the win. She ended up winning via the pounce, which I like, but I kind of wish they would kind of go away from that. Like, does every black person have to do the pounce, right? We all know that came from Monty Brown from TNA years and years ago, but still, like, there's no need to have every individual do that shit. It just doesn't make any sense. But the match was fine. So maybe she ends up winning the Speed Championship at some point in time. I don't know. Maybe they're doing something with her and Zarya. I'm pretty sure Zarya will probably end up winning and beating Ren Sinclair at Heatwave. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things play out on that end. But this was fine, though. Moving on from that, this leads us into the feud that never ends involving Saquon Sugars and Deion Lennox. They both just yap some words and everything else, and they want to have a steel cage match and kind of put an end to their feud, basically. So it doesn't really matter. I don't care about this at all. I'm ready for this feud to be over so both guys can do something different. That's just what it needs to be. Moving on, Jackson Drake defeats Shiloh Hill. So he's now the new number one contender for the men's North American Championship. That's fine there. Jackson Drake got the win via a beautiful 450 splash. Moving on from that, Zarya, she's backstage with Mr. Stone. So Kelly Armstrong shows up. Stone congratulates her on her win and says he's been giving deals to everybody, so what does she get for beating the Speed Champion? Zarya says it's too bad because after Heatwave, there won't be a Speed Champion, just one dominant champion. Kelly calls Zarya a redheaded heifer, which was hilarious, and she's skeptical about her being so dominant. So Robert Stone books a match between the two of them next week. So that's going to be cool there. I actually like this. I'm fine with this. So that was basically NXT, man. I mean, NXT was pretty good. I like what they're doing. The women's division continues to hold it down. That's fine, what they're doing with them. The men's division, slowly but surely getting rebuilt. I think Naraku was on this show, too. I forgot to pay attention. I think he came in the Shiloh Hill match. So I guess they're going to do Shiloh Hill and Naraku. I thought Naraku was going to go to the main roster and be a part of Nakamura's new stable, because they're bringing in Hiromu. He should be making his debut on SmackDown this week coming up, so that'll be fine there. Maybe down the line they'll bring in Naraku, but I'm fine with that. So that's fine. We haven't seen Naraku in about probably a month and some change, so yeah. But all in all, NXT was fun. I like what they're doing. And I'm very excited for Heatwave. And hopefully we have a good, strong go-home show next week. So I look forward to that. But what do you guys think of NXT? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.